All right, so this is part number 3, last part of the philosophy series, where we're going to take the foundation of leadership and ethics that we've been talking about and have you start to do your design for your portfolios with it. Just give you a little direction here. This will be a little bit quicker. Great resource here, one last one, is National Federation of High School Sports, NFHS. And this is their code of ethics. I won't go through this, but you can see in red some of the key points. There's a couple pages here. Please go to their site. It's an incredible resource similar to ACEP that we mentioned earlier. And in fact, you'll use this as at a later point in the course where you'll actually be required to take some of their free courses and get some certifications that you would actually need if you were going to coach here in the state of Pennsylvania or most of the states in the U.S. now. So a couple of them here: education, academic achievement. I like this one: treated with the utmost respect of his or her welfare, each student. So it goes through these different ones. Again, another way to talk about your definition of ethics is to design a code of ethics. You can see here they talk about enhancing sportsmanship not only for the athletes but for spectators. Respect, again, a great action verb that, or value term that you can use, communicates a lot. Again, gives a lot of direction on the position you want people in your organization to take so that you're being proactive and defining things and not assuming they know what you mean when you get into ethics in sport. Another great ethics model is, and then kind of the Penn State style, is you can go to University Ethics site where they actually list all what are Penn State values, and then they give how to step by step on making those ethical decisions. It's a great illustration of how you might implement some of these things, and you could use that again as a reference there. So there's a site there, and then a good article where they talk about in the Penn State News. What we're going to do here now, one last workshop. It's kind of fun, but helps you start to do application of your ethics definition and then having to apply it similar to that leadership dilemma we did on individuality earlier on. With each of these, there's 3 of them I'm going to give. An ethical dilemma is a situation in which a person is faced with a difficult choice and there's no clear-cut answer or action that exists. Again, you as the head coach now for this course are going to be forced into making the final decision. Somebody else isn't going to do it for you. So what we want to do here, and the goal is these are situations that are going to come about or could come about, but it helps you be prepared for the unprepared. So you're not just reacting, but you're being proactive in being a leader. So here's the first one. And what you want to do with each of these is go ahead and try to answer these questions, and you can obviously come up with ethical dilemmas that you can use in your own portfolio. The unique thing about these 3 then too were also situations that actually happened to me as a coach in the last 30 years. First one, I was a head football coach, and again at a D3 school, which is a small college level back in Iowa. I'd just taken over the program, and the program had not had a winning season in 20 years. So not much success. We're playing the number 4 opponent in the country. We block a punt at the end of the game, return it for an apparent touchdown that wins the game, and we find out it was called back. The officiating on this was so bad that actually when they reviewed it, the conference commissioner, their player had actually made the penalty, not one of ours, and the whole crew was reprimanded for the rest of the season. Thing here is, how do you react to this and be prepared for it? What do you say? What do you say if a mic was in front of your face with that right after the game? And then what do you say when you go address the team? It's a great kind of ethical dilemma, but helps you prepare for your leadership style with your matching it with your definition, and then maybe your ethical standards. Okay. So go ahead and pause. Do this one right now, and then I'm going to take you on to the next 2, and you can do the same. Second one, I was an offensive coordinator now, just the opposite. where I was in the Chicago area, again, D3 school, and we were a top 20 team, great team with one of the top quarterbacks in the nation. And it comes to get done with the game, come to practice on Monday, and he has a broken nose. After I have some discussion with him, we find out it was his girlfriend who broke his nose in an argument. Again, how do you respond to the situation with the individual, but also what do you do about it? Again, you've got to think, and we'll get into this, legal duties, legal steps, ethical steps, as well as safety, and again with your leadership style. Remember, there are no secrets anymore. So again, when you start to come up with responses, think about how this is going to be viewed in our society, but also what is best for everyone involved. So go ahead and pause here and write up how you would deal with this situation. Third one then is dealt with this as a high school coach and a college coach, both, but it's where a parent calls up and wants their son, I was dealing with football and track and field, they want more playing time, more involvement. Obviously, the parent then doesn't get what they want, starts to talk with other parents, and eventually send a petition to the AD to have you reprimanded and or fired. So again, the AD comes to you, or the parent comes to you, or booster club. How do you respond to that parent? How would you respond to the player now? Because the player's involved. And then how do you handle that with an AD? Again, look at all of the things from your leadership definition, your ethics, code of ethics and your ethical standards, as well as safety and legal duties. Okay. So hopefully you've done those three. These again are things, the reason I'm having you do this, you can actually use these ethical dilemmas of illustrations of how you're going to apply your leadership and ethical standards. I'm going to give one more here. That's again a great way to take current or recent incidents and apply them to possibly your leadership style. This one is a real life leadership, and it was on sexuality. This was in 2014. Michael Sam was a All-American defensive end for the University of Missouri. Is getting ready for the draft and actually comes out and is the first openly gay NFL prospect. If you pause it here, you click on the link, this is going to be him doing an interview. Again, I'd really encourage you to pause and take the time to see the interview so you see him talk about things in his own words and take some notes. Think about, as you were doing the interview, how would you handle this as a head coach? And the head coach at the time was Gary Pinkel. He's retired since then. Here's some points from Pinkel after you've done the interview, the head coach. He went back to, this is where this value system and designing your leadership and ethics standards and definitions is important. He went back to when he had to talk about it with the media, that the importance of honesty, the type of culture they talked about creating, about being respectful to women, respectful of cultural differences, all of it. If you pause this and click on this link, it's an ESPN radio interview. You got to turn it up, it's a little weak there, but it's great hearing again Pinkel in his own words on it. But a couple quotes: if you can play, you can play. Players can have different opinions, but at the end of the day, it's about being a family and being understanding to all differences, being tolerant and a positive team member. So again, don't have to agree with this, you can disagree, but again, this is just an example of application of your standards and the design you come up with being used with real life scenarios with people in your organization. Last one, just a reminder, these were some examples. This is a layout. You can actually do these visuals, kind of like the pyramid of success from Wooden, or the Dynamic Dozen by Pat Summitt. I use leadership, the 5 E's of empower, engage everyone, and then we evolve towards excellence. You can think of the house of leadership and ethics, where you're building a house based on honesty and fairness, which then develops trust, and hopefully you create fun in your organization. And at the top of it all, it's about respecting individual differences and the ability to forgive. This hopefully creates a positive team culture, a positive family, positive house. All right, so we've done the 3 parts. Hopefully you've got a solid foundation, some resources, some information on leadership, ethics, but most importantly now you started to design your own, and this helps you use the TRI method of your position, thesis, having some strong references to support your position, and then most importantly, how are you going to make this happen, giving me some concrete examples. All right, good luck.